Hi guys, it's Kieran from Red Devil Weekly, back again to preview yet another Manchester United Premier League fixture. But before we get into it, as always, make sure you leave your thoughts in the comment section down below if you're watching as a video. Leave your thoughts in the live chat as well if you're watching live. Like and subscribe to the channel as well, not only if you're new, but if you'd like the content. So please do help us out with that. It really does make a lot of difference. So we've got a few people in the chat right now. Brito Rashford, thanks for joining, and Adam Talksport as well. Always great to see you in the live chat. Reacting really first and foremost to that draw, the FA Cup draw, the 4th and 5th round draw for the FA Cup has been made. And United, surprise, surprise, in the 4th round, I've got Liverpool at home. That is going to be a very easy draw. And when we do eventually get through to the 5th round, we will be playing, who are we playing? Some random shit. Oh no, we're playing West Ham or Stockport, and that game is happening tonight. So that is going to be who we play in the 5th round, if indeed we do get through to the 5th round. And I think we will. I think we will get through to the 5th round, but I don't want to get too over the top, but there you go. But anyway, welcome Kobe as well. Thanks for joining. Jimmy Neutron reference. If you guys haven't seen Rich's streams, a few people have been giving me stick over there for my haircut. I don't think it's too bad, but listen, Jimmy Neutron, as I said over there, is a good-looking fella, so I'm not complaining. But yeah, Brio Rashford said the FA is corrupt, giving us Liverpool and then giving City Cheltenham. Well, exactly. Man City get an easy draw for the umpteenth time in cup competitions. To be fair, though, if you think about it, Liverpool as well, I saw a stat that said they had Premier League opposition drawn against them for ages in a row. Just consistently against Premier League opposition. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's just Man United that gets shafted, but we do get shafted, and I'm going to complain about it because I'm a spoilt brat. LSR Pre-Inside, thanks for joining us, rolling over the Scousers 2 weeks in a row. Lovely jubbly, he says. Matthew says, thanks for joining. Matthew says, Ollie going to prioritise Europa now with the tough draw. Well, who knows? Who knows? We could still beat Liverpool. There's no reason why not. We could beat them twice. We're already going to beat them in the Premier League, so why not beat them twice in 2 weeks? So I'm happy with that. I was looking forward to getting a big tie, to be fair. I was looking forward to getting an interesting tie, because usually in the FA Cup we get stinkers, but actually this time we got a brilliant tie in Liverpool. It's a difficult tie, but it's a good one to watch, and we live for these big games, as we know, as football fans. Kobe says, did you hear about Fosu Mensah to Leverkusen? I did hear about Fosu Mensah to Leverkusen, and I'm not sure. I think he's not going to get as much game time here, so I don't think it's the worst move for him if he is going to get regular first team game time. And it's actually for a decent team. Leverkusen aren't a bad side, so I wouldn't be against it, but at the same time, when the competitions start ramping up, especially with the Europa League coming up, we need to use our depth as much as possible, especially if we're still going to be in this title race by the time the Europa League starts back up again, which we'll be getting onto in this preview, of course. So that is something we've got to think about. But I would like to see Fosu Mensah get game time, and if he's not going to get game time at Manchester United, then why not? Why not let him go to Leverkusen, get a bit more game time, because I do believe there's a good player in there. We've seen enough of him, in my opinion, that he will be a decent player for Manchester United hopefully one day. He just needs the game time, so going to Leverkusen might not be the worst thing for him. Kevin's joined us. Kevin, thanks for joining. He says, let's dive into this Paul shit, innit? Exactly. I love that. As I said, Liverpool in the 4th round of the FA Cup. Doesn't get much better than that for the spectator. Doesn't get much worse for the players. Let's see. LSR Pre-Inside says, yeah, West Ham will be tough, Matthew. Aha, very funny. That's great banter. It really is. Adam says, Kieran, the Ravens won. Fair play to the Ravens. I don't know who they're playing. I don't know American football. I don't watch American football, but if you are a Ravens fan watching, congratulations. As G comes in and echoes what most people are saying, the draw was rigged, says G. Make sure to check out Red Devil Studio as well if you aren't already. Great stuff over there. It does seem like it. I can't remember the last time we had an FA Cup run which didn't include either Arsenal, Chelsea, or Liverpool. But hey, I'm not saying anything. All I'm saying is I agree 100%. It's rigged. It has to be. And it's not only that, but as someone mentioned up there, I think it was Brito Rashford mentioned up there, how can Man City get Cheltenham and some other shite team? I think it's either Swansea or Nottingham Forest. And we get Liverpool and West Ham as well if we go to the 5th round, which, potentially isn't going to be easy for us. Obviously, Stockport could beat West Ham still, but it's one of those ones where you've got to start asking questions. You really do. You've got to start asking questions. They needed that tie, really, because all the other ties were pretty average if it wasn't for that Liverpool-Man United game. Kobe says McFred and the Chocolate Brothers will start again tomorrow. Yeah, let's get on to the Burnley game tomorrow. And, of course, one of the biggest games of our season, if not the biggest game of our season so far, after the Leipzig game, which was also one of the biggest games of our season. And who people think will start in this game. Now, for me, I'm going to start a little bit with Burnley, and I feel like we know what we're going to get with Burnley, so I'm not going to spend too long on it. Set pieces will be massive. And that's why I am worried that Maguire and Lindelof are going to be starting, because set pieces is something we've been really struggling at. And I think with Eric Bailly in the team next to Harry Maguire, we seem to have defended a lot more resolutely. Yes, we conceded that goal against Aston Villa, but that was more down to poor game management from the likes of Wan-Bissaka, really, not stopping the quick free kick. But I feel like with Eric Bailly in the team, we have defended a lot better, a lot more, resolutely. And I just don't see how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can watch the same games that we're watching and still play Victor Lindelof over Eric Bailly. I just don't see it, guys. I don't see it. Maybe I'm not seeing what you guys are seeing. Maybe we're not. Maybe Solskjaer is going to play an absolute masterstroke, play Lindelof, and he's going to have a 10 out of 10 game. Maybe he does, and I hope if he does play Lindelof, that's the case. But realistically, we know that Eric Bailly right now is the best centre-back at the club. I don't think there's any debate of that right now, on form alone. So I want to see Eric Bailly and Maguire play. I think that partnership has been decent for us, especially in these last few games, and also last season as well. I think this is the last time I'm going to say the stat, because I've said this stat so many times talking about this, but 8 clean sheets in their last 11 games as a partnership, Harry Maguire and Eric Bailly have. So that is something which surely Solskjaer and the coaching staff have got to be looking at and trying to draw patterns from that, because the United fan base are, and we're watching the same game they're watching. In fact, in some ways, we get a better view than they do. So I don't know. I just feel like, against Burnley, it's going to be a lot of set pieces. It's going to be a lot of crosses into the box. Ashley Barnes, Chris Wood, those guys feed off those good balls into the box, and they will bully Victor Lindelof. No bones about it. Make no bones about it. They will bully Victor Lindelof. As we saw in the previous games that Burnley have played against us. I think when they went 2-0 up at Old Trafford a few seasons ago, and we came back 2-2 where Lindelof actually scored late in that game, both goals were pretty much them bullying Victor Lindelof. Knockdowns. That is something we're going to have to deal with. That's something we're going to have to contend with in this game. So having Victor Lindelof there, in my opinion, is just not going to be playing to the strengths that we have in the squad. Eric Bailly clearly can deal with that a lot better. But the fact that he did suffer that injury or that slight knock against Watford, I think will be used as an excuse as to why he's not playing in this game. And if he is injured, then fair enough. I'd rather a fit Victor Lindelof than an injured Eric Bailly. I'm not sure if you guys would agree, but I would rather a player that's 100% fit to a player that might be a little bit better ability-wise, but is only kind of 70-80% fit. So Eric Bailly clearly for me should be playing. G saying Tuanzebe's a shout as well, because Tuanzebe was solid against Watford. He was. I thought Tuanzebe had a decent game, so I wouldn't be surprised if both those were in the partnership. But I do think that Solskjaer likes to go with his favourites, and Harry Maguire clearly is one of his favourites. He made him captain, to be fair, so it's going to be very difficult for Solskjaer to drop Harry Maguire, the player who played the most minutes in 2020, and I don't think that's going to change in 2021 if things keep going the same way. So I think it will be either Bailly or Maguire, or Lindelof and Maguire, so hold on to your hats if it is Lindelof and Maguire. Owen says, you have to go to bed tomorrow before the game because you're staying up with Steve Smith and rent-free in your head. There you go. Obviously, that's a bit of a cricket reference if you've seen the cricket lately. Steve Smith been a little bit of a naughty chap, a little bit of a naughty boy there. But obviously, that's for another stream. That's for another cricket stream. Obviously, Burnley this season have been up and down. I think if you look at their home record, they've usually done well against sides that are lower down the table or closer to them in the table at home. But against the sides that have got a bit of quality at home, they haven't really seemed to have done that well. Haven't really been able to be that team that is difficult to beat. similar problems in some ways to the way Sheffield United are playing this season, where last season they were very difficult to beat. They're such a tough team to go and play, but this season it just hasn't been the same. But Burnley are still above the relegation zone, I believe. I might be absolutely wrong on that. If I am, I'm going to apologise. Send me to the gallows. Let's see. I think they are just above. They're 16th in the Premier League, so they're just above the relegation zone. And they were languishing in relegation for quite a bit at the start of the season, but they've seemed to have picked up a little bit. And they can hurt us. And I think set pieces, as I said earlier, set pieces is where they're going to potentially hurt us the most. And that is the thing that worries me, because we can attack well. We will create chances. If we put them away, that'll be fine. But if we can't defend, then this Burnley team is going to have an absolute field day with those set pieces. It's frustrating. Kobe says Barry makes us play higher up the pitch and Lindelof makes us not even get past our penalty spot. Well, that's the thing. Barry can take the ball out as well. He's not as good as distributing as someone like Victor Lindelof, but Barry does like to make more surging runs. And I think as well, even though some things he does are a little bit rash, he's a lot more confident with what he does. He's a lot more, okay, you know what, I'm going to clear people out if just to get to this header. He's someone who, doesn't mind clattering a few people, doesn't mind going into kind of risky challenges. And sometimes you think, come on, mate, don't do that. We don't need to do that. Just stay sensible. But other times, he gets absolutely spot on. I think his pace as well was something that was really helpful against especially Wolves, where Adama Traore was nearly running through on goal, I remember, and he came back across and nicked the ball off him. And without Eric Bailly there, if that was Victor Lindelof, I reckon he scores and makes it 1-1, and we're not in this position that we're in right now. So, his pace next to Harry Maguire's lack of pace is so important in that partnership, in my opinion. Matthew says, Burnley want to put high balls into the box. Having high line prevents them from doing that. It's true. I think Man City play with a high line against Burnley, and every time Burnley turn up at the Etihad, they get thumped 5-0. Obviously, when you play a high line, it's great that they can't just cross the ball into their strikers, but I do not trust our defence to keep a solid line and to keep everyone offside and play everyone offside. There's always one straggler who's left at the back playing everyone onside. So that is something that would worry me. But at the same time, I'm not a defensive coach. I'm not a defensive expert. We just need to get to the ball first. That's all we need to do, because we just can't seem to do that, especially near post. I feel like Burnley's tactic, you'll probably see it a lot tomorrow, where they just crowd David De Gea or Dean Henderson or whoever's going to be in goal. There'll just be a crowd of players, a melee of players next to him when the corner comes in. I guarantee that's what Burnley are going to do. Naveen's joined us. Thanks for joining, Naveen. Appreciate it. He says 17 in the 24th versus Liverpool, 30th against Arsenal. Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting couple of weeks for Manchester United. A very difficult couple of weeks, but a couple of weeks that could potentially be very rewarding. High risk is high reward, and if we come out of those 3 games with 3 very decent results, that could put some huge confidence into those players going into the run-in for the season. So you can look at it one way and say, we could get beaten all 3 of those games and lose all of our momentum. But you could look at it in another way and say, if we win those 3 games or get 3 decent results in those 3 games, this team will be up for anything, because they'll know that they can, win those sorts of games, and they can, if we beat Liverpool twice, there's no reason why we can't go on and, pit them for the league. There's no reason why not. So for me, those 3 games are going to be very, very interesting indeed. But very exciting prospects as well. It's always good to be playing those big games, and to have 3 big games in a row is always good. Especially when you're a Man United fan, you want to be talking about those big games. Talking about the Watford game, for example. It wasn't the most highlight plentiful game, if you know what I mean. There wasn't much to talk about, and obviously when you're playing a kind of team of lower opposition, or a team that's lower down the footballing pyramid, you're kind of expected to win. So when you do win, there's not really that much of a buzz around. So to win those games against Arsenal, Liverpool as well would be absolutely massive for the confidence of the team and also the confidence of the fan base. Cough, cough, Wan-Bissaka, yeah. Naveen says, as Fosu is gone, Brandon will stay for sure. Otherwise, Max Aarons is the most likely Aaron Wan-Bissaka backup. I've talked about Max Aarons on the channel before, and when the rumours were going round, I was thinking that was definitely a good move for us, because Aaron Wan-Bissaka doesn't have that quality backup. Brandon Williams obviously is the guy who's behind Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and he's not bad, but Is he really, good enough quality right now? Obviously, I know he's still 19, 20 years old, so he's got so much time to develop. But as of right now, is he really that sort of quality that we need and that we, desire in a squad that's going to take on all challenges for the league? I'm not sure. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh. Maybe I am being a little bit harsh. Please do let me know if I am. But I feel like someone like Max Aarons coming in behind Aaron Wan-Bissaka would make a huge deal of difference, especially if Wan-Bissaka gets injured as well. To have someone like Max Aarons to come in would be very exciting indeed. But back onto this Burnley game, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Manchester United now, because obviously it is a Manchester United based stream. As well, please hit that like button if you aren't already as well, guys. We're nearly at 850 subscribers, so thank you so much for all the support. Really do appreciate it, honestly. It's absolutely fantastic. But we're going to talk a bit about Manchester United and who I think will be playing in this game. And I think we will go back to a similar team that played against Manchester City. I don't think we're going to be as defensive as we were playing Scott McTominay and Fred. But I do think Scott McTominay is going to keep his place from the Watford game. I thought, he played very well against Watford. Obviously, it was Watford, but he did play very, very well, and I think Solskjaer is the type of manager to reward those good performances. So I wouldn't be surprised if Scott McTominay starts at the bottom of the four. I think we will see Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba starting next to each other. I don't think there's going to be any Donny van der Beek, so I think Pogba and Fernandes will be the two furthest forward central midfielders. And obviously you've got the back line as well, and I think we will see Shaw, Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof and Aaron Wan-Bissaka is my prediction. I would rather Eric Bailly, just to make that clear once again. I would rather Eric Bailly next to Aaron Maguire, but I just feel like Solskjaer is going to go with Victor Lindelof because he picked him against Man City and then rested Lindelof for the Watford game. And that to me is a big telltale sign that he's going to go with Lindelof in the big games. So that's just me. Maybe he's wrong. Maybe Solskjaer's fooled us all, but I doubt it. I really do doubt it. Matthew says, the big question here, does Cavani start? Well, I'll get onto the forwards actually in a second. And Cavani, for me, has to start this game. The impact he has, even when he's not scoring goals, the playmaking impact he has, the amount of times he creates space for the other attackers going forward. For me, he needs to start. He's been very, very good for us since he signed. And, he's done a decent job for us. So for me, he's got to play. He's got to play. I would probably start Cavani ahead of Anthony Martial. I'd probably start Cavani and Rashford up front as a 2 because I think Rashford, as of late, has been pretty good as well. So I'd probably go with Rashford and Cavani up front. I think both of them add a little bit of balance to each other. Rashford's got the pace to run in behind. Cavani can create the space. But also, when he's presented with a big chance in the box, it's very rare that Cavani misses it. So I think Cavani playing alongside Marcus Rashford would be a very difficult partnership for that Burnley backline. And I would not be surprised if someone like Greenwood starts as well. Would not be surprised if Mason Greenwood gets on the pitch as well, because I thought he was actually, he found it difficult against Watford playing on his own as a number 9. So maybe it's the same thing with Martial and Rashford, that he's actually a little bit better coming in off the left or coming in off the right and running at defenders. Maybe that's it. Obviously, we knew that Mason Greenwood's the type of player who, we all thought was the most natural number 9 out of Martial, Rashford and himself. But it seemed like against Watford, he just didn't really get that sort of service, and he wasn't really able to do much with it when he did get past the ball. So it's a difficult game being a striker. It is a lonely game sometimes being up there on your own. So, I do feel for Greenwood a little bit in that game, but he did struggle a little bit in my opinion. LSR says, Cavani, why do we want to start that racist? Oh, alright, okay. Alright. We'll leave that there. We'll leave that comment there. And we'll talk a little bit more about the sort of tactics we need to deploy. Because I think the counter-attacking thing is obviously how we've been the most successful this season. But is it going to be that easy to counter-attack on a team like Burnley? We are playing away from home, and our record away from home is almost immaculate. But for me, it's going to be difficult to counter-attack on Burnley. I think Sean Dyche is a seasoned manager. He'll know that's how we get most of our goals. And Burnley are the type of team that will sit very, very deep, especially against top 6 clubs. So I think it'll be very difficult to counter-attack. It'll be very, very difficult. I mean, if we do get the opportunity to counter-attack and exploit any spaces they leave behind, it'll be a long day for Burnley, trust me. But I don't think he'll be that stupid to let us do that. I hope he isn't. I mean, I hope he is that stupid, but I doubt it. Sean Dyche is a wily old fox, trust me. So that is something which I don't see happening. I feel like, he will sit back. He will notice that we do struggle to break down those low blocks. But I think for me, the big guy is Bruno Fernandes, and that seems to be very, very obvious. But he's the guy who, when he has a good game, when he's on form, creating chances, we usually win the game. It's that simple. We have Bruno Fernandes and they don't. It really is that simple. And if he's on form, an on-form Bruno Fernandes will create goals out of nothing. And with Paul Pogba in there as well, who, potentially, is looking like picked up a knock against Man City, might not be featuring from the start. But again, that might be mind games from Ollie, as we spoke about in the Watford review. But with Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes in there potentially, both creating, if they are on form, it's very, very difficult for teams to stop them. So that for me is, what we need to do in a nutshell. If those guys are on form, I think we win the game because we'll create enough chances and we'll score enough goals. Very basic punditry here from me, I know. Very basic. Cheers, G. Appreciate the shout out there. Like the video, guys, as well. Yeah, like the video if you haven't already, if you're enjoying the content, of course. Matthew said, I could see us grinding out a 1-0 for a large part of the game. Maybe get another on the counter-attack later on. Very similar to what we did last season at Turf Moor. Naveen says, the only thing that Ollie improved this season is winning against the bottom half of the table, unlike last season. So we'll make the work, we'll get the job done tomorrow, I think he's saying. Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I hope you're right, Naveen. I hope you're right. Prakash, thanks for joining. He says, United playing counter-attack and hoping for mistakes from opponent teams. Very boring. Well, it is boring, but if it gets results, Prakash, I'm happy with it, to be honest. I'm very, very happy with it. If we end up winning the league because we play that way, I'm not going to complain. It's not obviously the way that Liverpool play, the way that Man City play. They like to have most of the possession and control games and win games like that. And trust me, I would trade that sort of winning, that style of winning, than the style of winning of kind of a little bit harping back to the Jose Mourinho style where, you get a goal early, then you kind of sit back and defend. It's not great to watch, and it can often come back to bite you, like Spurs saw in the game they played against Wolves. So that is something which, will have to be looked at. But I think right now, we have to play to our strengths, and if counter-attacking is our strength, then why not? Why not keep doing it? As I said, against Burnley and against most of the teams below the table, we do find it difficult to counter-attack, and I think it'll be the same at Turf Moor tomorrow night. Kobe says he's going for a 2-0 Bruno double, maybe a pen. I hope so, Bruno. I hope a Bruno penalty is in there. But actually, I'd rather save his dubious penalty for the 95th minute at Anfield, to be honest with you, Kobe. I'd rather him save it for that. Melly says, if you ever feel bored watching us, just remember how it was under Jose. Always a good reminder of how far we've come under Ole. There you go. That's a bit of positivity about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer if ever I've seen some. TTX has joined us. Thanks for joining, TTX, mate. Really appreciate it. He says, drawn against Liverpool. One word, FA are corrupted. How can City get away with easy draws in every competition? I don't know, mate. I don't know, and I don't want to, I can only say stuff allegedly, but it's getting ridiculous now. It's getting ridiculous with the sort of draws we're getting, and the sort of draws that Man City are getting. Even Man City fans know it's absolutely rigged. And to be honest with you, if I was a United fan and getting those draws, I would be lapping it up. I'd be absolutely celebrating in rival fans' faces. I wouldn't care that it was rigged. So, fair play to the Man City fans, but it is getting ridiculous now. It's getting ridiculous. Beyond a joke. G goes with 2-0 United as well, agreeing with Kobe. I like that. I like these positive predictions. Always like to see them. Owen says, surely watching Jose when you're bored is the last thing you want to do. Well, it's the last thing you want to do before you go to bed. If that's what you mean. Editor Prince Live says, like pouring vinegar into a cut if it starts to sting. We'll leave that there as well. Yeah, I'm going to give my prediction now, I guess. If everyone else is giving their prediction, I'll give my prediction. Then we'll just, bounce off the comments for a little bit before we wrap up. So my prediction for the game. I think it's going to be very tight. I think it's going to be very, very tight indeed. I think that Burnley are going to want to spoil the party. They know the ramifications. Don't get it twisted. They know how big a game this is for us. And it's a big game for them as well, because obviously they're only 16th in the table. They're only 2 places above the relegation zone. So they'll want to, upset the apple cart as well. So for me, I think don't expect an easy ride. We never get an easy ride against Burnley. But I think as of recent, if you look at the recent results that we've had against Burnley, either one team wins 2-0 or the other team wins 2-0 or it's a 2-2 draw. So the number 2 features a lot in these games. So I'm going to go with 2-0 United as well. That seems to be the main prediction that everyone's going with. So I'm going to go with a 2-0 United as well. I think Marcus Rashford getting on the score sheet, and I think potentially Harry Maguire header. I think Harry Maguire header as well. I don't know why, I'm sensing a Harry Maguire header. See, he's missed so many chances from corners recently that I wouldn't be surprised if Harry Maguire was to, get on the end of it. That's Owen, by the way. Prakash says Liverpool is the biggest match that will decide the title race. Well, we're only in January right now. We are only in January, so I don't think if we lost to Liverpool, the title race would be over for us because we'd still be only 2 or 3 points off the top spot depending on other results. So I don't think we should be really, really upset if we lose to Liverpool because there's still a lot more time left in the season. But it would be a huge blow psychologically, and I think that's the main thing that would probably spell danger for our title hopes, is the psychology of the players and the way that a loss to Liverpool at Anfield would knock the stuffing out of the players who have been doing, credit to them, fantastically well in the league for a while now. So for them to lose that game would just knock the stuffing out of them, and I think that would be one of the main things that would knock our title charge out of kilter. So I think it is one of the biggest games in the title race, to be honest, right now. But there will be bigger games, trust me. So even if we only draw that game, we need to stay in the title race somehow. Losing the game would be a massive, massive blow. But if we win this Burnley game, and that's why in some ways this Burnley game is, bigger than that Liverpool game. If we win this Burnley game, even if we lose to Liverpool, we still remain level on points with them. So in that respect, this Burnley game is even bigger. Matthew said Josie was dreadful, hence I was saying remember how it was, don't go watch it. Kobe says it's always bloody Burnley, if you know, you know. Exactly. Obviously, the famous clip. But I feel like Burnley is a team that always upsets the apple cart. It's always a team that just plays out of their skins against one of the top 6 sides, always wants to, upset the odds. Sean Dyche loves it. He absolutely loves it. Make no mistake about it. Sean Dyche absolutely loves spoiling the party. So I'm expecting fully a Barcelona-style performance from Burnley tomorrow night, and we're going to have to be up to it. And I think if we do create enough chances, if Bruno, Pogba, Rashford are clinical enough, then we will win the game. Simple as that. Because as we know, we're a moments team, and I know a lot of people give us stick for being a moments team, saying we're not actually a good team, we just play in moments. But if we take those moments, I have no problem with being a moments team. No problem whatsoever. Owen says, what, Kobe? We play them as much as everyone else. Again, I don't know what that means. But it's coming up to past, so I probably will end it in about a few minutes' time. So any more comments you've got, please do let me know. And also, if you're watching as a video, thank you very much for watching on the replay. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Ashley MUFC, thanks for joining me. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. 1 subscriber away from 850 subscribers. So thank you so much for all the support, guys. Really appreciate it. Will you be our 850th subscriber? He says, need everything from the boys to borrow. Plus Cavani is back, thank God. Exactly. Cavani adds so much more than just goal scoring. He scored the 2 goals against Southampton. He scored the important goal against Everton. But what he does do is he can also link the play. We saw that he assisted Bruno Fernandes not once but twice in separate Premier League games. Once against Southampton and then once against Leicester as well, which nearly proved to be the all-important goal. So again, for me, Cavani doesn't just provide, attacking impotence, he can also set up other people as well. So that is something which, Cavani adds. And he also takes the spotlight off, other players as well. He can create space for other players, and, that's something which is so, so valuable. Kobe says, how many points do you think we can get in the next 2 games? Honestly, 6 points. I think we can get 6 points. There's no reason why we can't. I don't think we need to be starting thinking, negatively. I still think we can get 6 points. Obviously, it's all up for grabs. Realistically, I think 4 points, as Matthew said, I think 4 points is probably more realistic. But there's no reason to be negative. Both these games are winnable games for us. Liverpool aren't some super team that Sky Sports and other platforms have been professing, saying that these guys are the best team since sliced bread. These guys are the next Messiah. The next '08 Barcelona team. They're just not. Without Van Dijk, they're very, very average, distinctly average. So, you know, it's one of those games where if we defend well, there's no reason why we can't win. No reason why we can't win. Owen says 6 comfortably. We shocked the league on Sunday. I reckon 3-0. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Adam says, Kieran, I've done my first thumbnail. Congratulations, Adam. I hope you're proud of yourself. He says, by myself, or I talked to Bill Gates. He'll sponsor you. Cheers, mate. I appreciate that, Adam. Yes, so we've got Bill Gates on the channel. So if you want to buy any Microsoft Office, we'll give you a discount of 30%. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that legally, but I've just said it and we're going to move on from that. But that's all I've got to say, really, guys. Thank you for watching. Really do appreciate it. I know it's a bit of an abrupt ending, but really enjoyed the preview. Thanks to everyone who has tuned in. Really do appreciate it. And hopefully we get the win against Burnley tomorrow. It'd be a massive victory. I feel like the fan base would be absolutely buzzing, you know, going into that game against Liverpool. So if we win that Burnley game, the players will be just the whole Man United stratosphere would be just absolutely buzzing. So I mean, that is why it's so important to win the game, as well as what would happen to the league. 3 points clear if we win that game against Burnley. And what a rush it would be to see Manchester United at the top of the table, managed by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Who's the PE teacher now? Thanks for watching, guys. Daz, I'll see you in the chat. Hopefully you get better soon, my friend. Thanks for watching. Make sure you check out Daz's football stand as well. Great stuff over there. Leave a like if you haven't already as well. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you after the Burnley game tomorrow. Cheers.